ago. Thought that
Welcome to the Grand Columbia channel. Welcome back to Coffee Time Live. It's another beautiful day, but there's no reason to show you a clip every week about how gorgeous it is. Yeah, we get our share of rain. Somebody says, is it always like that? No, it's not always like this, but it's like this almost every day until the afternoon, with some exceptions here or there. And you get your rainy time of the year where you're going to get some big thunder boomers, but you don't get any snowstorms. And it's just generally overall pretty pleasant. We've been running in the mid to high 70s for quite a while now, and I just love that. So, what are we going to talk about today? Some of you are here because it said bullfighting. And yeah, we're going to talk about that. But I got a couple other little topics to talk about. I don't know if you saw it, but I did a weekly update again. I put it out yesterday. And I talked about, good morning, James. I talked about, well, let me just show you what I talked about. Oh my God, what an ordeal. And I actually would have liked to have put that video out yesterday or maybe Monday, but I've been so busy with the EPS and the driving and getting the car over to get, it's at the repair shop right now. It's getting a once over. It's due for its annual inspection. So I've owned it it was brand new annual inspection when I got it. And now it's already expired with no driving time. So, yeah, I've been pretty busy with all this kind of stuff. And the editing, it's, kind of on the back burner until this coming week when it'll come out on the front burner. I've got 2 videos that I'm working on. One is on the driving license. Well, it's actually, the driving license is 2 videos. One is the nuts and bolts of you do this, 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 and this. It's going to cost you this. It's, just a factual thing. And the other one is the nightmare that I went through and why. And that one will be a little more entertaining for me. Good morning, Howard. So got that coming up. And then I still have the retirement visa video coming up. So those are all being worked on, and they're near completion, one of them, and the other one's about a third of the way in. And the other one, my complaining about what I went through, it's more of a concept, but I got a lot of clips and stuff gathered up for it. Hello, Christopher. So, all this preparing has been very time consuming. A lot of running around, a lot of waiting, staying in line for a couple hours. It just kind of eats up your day. So, Mark, nice name. So that's where we're at with the channel. So what are we going to cover today? Let me see. I have to get here. The camera has been freezing up towards the end of the last couple videos, and I've dug and I can't figure out why. And it may happen again. Let's hope not. Where are we at? Which one are we at? Here we go. Okay, so there's a couple touristy things that I wanted to point out. The Salt Cathedral. Some of you have been to Colombia. You've probably been here. This is like one of the big tourist attractions, but it's also very popular with people that live in Bogota. Every Sunday, there's 2,000 or 3,000 people that go to this salt cathedral. It was built down in the salt mines. There's very large salt mines. That part doesn't really faze me. But the cathedral was built in the 50s, from what I understand. But in the 90s, they brought in some conceptual architect, something or other, and he put together with all the colored lights And that's why it says it's like going to the church in a 90s club. Well, he put it up in the 90s, or he did this design, and I guess it's pretty flashy. And it's beautiful, and so people will go for that. But there's a history behind it, which I won't go into here. But if you're interested in history, you might want to look this up, because the history goes back well over 1,000 years. And it was very key to the people that lived in the mountains, back in the day. So you might want to take a look at that. And this other one is just humorous. I mean, I've known about it for quite a while, never been, but this is something that they can't figure out what the heck this was all about. There's all kinds of theories. It's like there's the alien theories, and then there's the predicting the future and the equinox and blah, 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 blah. But bottom line is nobody has a clue. And that is the Park of the Penises. It's pretty funny, really. These things are huge. There's 109 of them that still exist today. Now, the Spanish went through, and being as puritanical as they were deeply offended, and they tried to destroy them, but that was way too much work. So they just went away. These were kind of hidden from the world through the 1800s. It was like a point of embarrassment. What's interesting about this is the indigenous people in this area, this is around Boyaca, the people in this area, the history is only known going back maybe 1,000 years. This was well before that. This was well over at least 2,000 years ago. And so who built it, why they built it, there's zero information on it. That's funny. Boner Henge. It should have been put up in Medellin, but anyway, so it's fascinating to me. Actually, it's frustrating to me whenever you have these situations where there's something that's just kind of like, there's a big story to tell, no pun meant, but there's no way to actually know what it is. There's no record, there's no written record. There's no way to trace it. The best they could do was date it. And even that is kind of marginal. It could be, they say it's over 2,000 years. They can say that definitively, supposedly. But it could be 10,000. They just don't know. Philip, Tijuana, Mexico. Yes, the land of the gut taco. So, might be something you might want to check out. If nothing else, it'd be a great source of entertainment for your Instagram photos. Okay, and now we're going to talk a little bit about the bullfighting. Yeah, they said that it could be obviously about fertility, and who knows. It's all speculation. They don't really know. And in our context, it might seem like that, but 10,000 years ago, there's a whole different context, and what is important to us might not be considered at all back then, and vice versa. So I don't know. I wish I did. These things kind of drive me crazy because I love history, but history means you need answers, and there are none. Okay, so this just came out a few days ago. The mayor of Armenia made this statement that's a lot of people are talking about it. As long as I'm mayor, bullfighting will never return to Armenia. Well, some of you say, you mean Armenia had bullfighting? Yes. Bullfighting has a long history in Colombia for centuries, obviously with the Spanish. So good news. Well, for some, it's good news. For other people, it's not. Just to give you an idea, right now, there's only bullfighting in 4 cities in Colombia. That's Bogota, Medellin, Cali, and Manizales. I did video a while back with my friend in the bull ring talking about it. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I got distracted. Bird. So there's still bullfighting in Manizales, but I think it's either once or maybe twice a year now. It's only for a very special occasion. I think primarily maybe once a year. So you got this gorgeous bullfighting ring that's used almost not at all. Well, there's one here in Armenia, but it's all overgrown. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of, well, I don't know if you can see, you probably can't see that, but you can see all the wooden seats and all the weeds and stuff that's grown up over it. It looks like an old, almost like a Roman stadium and an amphitheater style, and the weeds are grown up all over it. Armenia was big on it because we're in the heart of Colombia and it's a historical area. And the thing is, you have a large part of the population that see bullfighting as a cultural thing. Now, you can almost think of this as like the Confederate flag. There's arguments on both sides that are very good, and who's going to win out? You know, some people say it's cruel to the bull, but then they don't really talk about the guys out there taking the same risk. I mean, bullfighters die, bullfighters get maimed, you know, so you say, well, but you know, he's making a choice and bull's not making a choice, you know, so I get all the argument. I've heard it. It's gone on for years. I'm not here to defend bullfighting. I don't really know anything about it. I've never seen one outside of, you know, on TV, or you see them in the movies. I can tell you that my step family was big in rodeos, and my stepfather rode bulls. And most of his life, he was fairly crippled up because of his back that was directly related to riding bulls. And so, you know, there's a price to pay on both sides, but there is tradition to it that comes from a different place other than the sport. And, you know, before people just blindly condemn it, you know, they should look into that. But we're not here to talk about that. We're just here to talk about, you know, the situation of bullfighting in general. Now, in 2012, all bullfighting in Colombia was banned. But in 2018, the courts overruled that and said that it's a cultural event that goes back for centuries, and that today's modern sensibilities don't get to trump what that centuries of culture or tradition, you know, has to offer. So it's legal again, and it has been for the last couple of years, but they're few and far between. So here in Armenia, there was talk about doing something with this stadium. It's kind of a waste. It's just sitting here like this. And the mayor here wants to turn it into basically a public arena, a public park. He's got a number of ideas. If you read this article about, you know, these walls with things growing on the walls, and just it actually sounds pretty nice. Sounds very lovely. They've got a number of we've got several stadiums here that are open to the public already, and I talked about one recently. So I don't know where this is going to land, but he was pretty definitive. You know, if you want to have bullfighting, you're going to have to send me away. Now, this mayor is very, very popular, largely because of things that I've covered recently. And so it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. He'll probably get his way, and this will turn into a park. But bullfighting does exist. Now, there is a law being proposed right now, and there's no resolution to it yet. It's just come out recently, about, okay, so they can't ban bullfighting on its face because of the way the arguments went with their equivalent of the Supreme Court. But they could change the rules to the bullfighting. And so there's a push right now to say, okay, you got your bullfighting, but no bull can be harmed during this event. And by harm, they mean, you can't have, it's not like you can stop any kind of injury, but they're saying the bull can't be killed, and it can't be maimed in any way. And, I guess if I have any opinion, I don't really have a big problem with that, because that's kind of what bull riding is in the United States. So they're talking about man conquering the bull. You don't necessarily have to kill it. In the United States, if you've ever watched bull riding, they're not out there with swords stabbing the bull. They're using their bare hands, taking this thing down and basically putting it in their control. And if you got a 200-pound guy pulling down a 1,500-pound bull, that's quite a feat of bravery, which this is about. So there's actually been a little talk about using that kind of model. So I don't know what's going to come of it. Personally, I think that would probably be pretty popular, and that would be something that they could do far more often without worries about, major protests. And, it's a divisive thing right now. So that's where we are with the bullfighting. I just thought it was kind of an interesting story, and I've been asked a few times, do they have bullfighting in Colombia? Well, now you know. Yes, they do, but few and far between. All right, let me get rid of that. Boom. Uh-oh, I froze again. Let me see if I can unfreeze it. I don't know what the heck this is all about, but it's quite annoying. Try one more thing here. Bear with me. All right. It unfroze like the Portugal style. Okay, so I don't know why this thing is freezing up. I don't think it's the camera. It doesn't look like it's on that end. It looks like it's this actual software, this StreamYard software. But I looked in their, what do you call it? Their blog. And I don't see people complaining about this happening. So I don't know what the heck it is. I'm not liking it. Okay, so that's the bullfighting. So let's get on with the it's Q&A time. It's time to start asking your questions. Remember, 4 question marks first, then ask the question. It's that time. Let's get to it. You know you got questions. Blackberry juice. I want to have a coffee time. It's probably going to be in about a month because I have something coming. It's Q&A time. It's time. Sorry about that. Move that keyboard. Somebody gifted something to me, and it got me thinking about some things that have come up about coffee. People who come here, visit, they say, that's not the coffee we thought you were drinking. And there's a whole evolution to what I drink as my coffee, but I drink what I'm happy drinking. And I want to do a coffee time live about that and talk about different methods of making coffee and why. And, so if you're not interested in coffee, it won't be a very good one, but I'm interested in doing it. I'm 33rd in chat. Okay, I don't know what that means. Hopefully, Colombia will continue to maintain their culture and history. The influence of other cultures often destroy our cultures and way of life, our United States. Yeah, there's got to be some kind of compromise. I get where they're coming from. The people that are against the bullfighting, I understand that, but one part of me says, toughen up, get over it. You go home and sit down and eat your steak, and you're complaining about bullfighting. But but the other side of it, it says it's not really necessary. And if it's not necessary, if you're not, out, hunting for food, then, is that what we want to do? So, I get both sides of the argument, but there's got to be a pretty good compromise. And possibly this US version might be able to be modified to appease people. I don't know. Any news on the PCR test to enter? I was completely wrong last week. I don't know. And that link that got sent to me, I tried opening it over the course of 3 days. It just didn't function. I could not open it. I kept getting an error message that the security was pulled from that website. It was a Colombian website, but it said that there was basically a problem, and I couldn't even override it. I couldn't get into it. And I looked today again. I've been looking actually every day. I looked again this morning, and all I can find is people that are coming in that are posting on Facebook are saying they're not getting asked for any test. And that's all I'm hearing. I'm not hearing anybody that is getting asked for any tests, but I don't know. I tried to find out. I can't find anything official. Are you aware of any discussions related to the process of building a home in Colombia? Yeah, but I'm not sure. Let me just go back to my default. Yes, you can build a home in Colombia. You can buy the land. You can do all of that. But I'm just going to go back to my default. That is not something that you want to do until you've lived here for a number of years. As a matter of fact, you probably don't want to do it until you actually become a citizen. Colombian espresso beans, fresh ground, and French press I'm drinking now. Now you realize there are no espresso beans. But yeah, awesome. Hopefully, at least by 2022, we can enter like normal, like no pandemic lasts forever. I don't know. I keep seeing the news in the United States, and it seems like they want it to last forever. I found it very humorous, actually, watching Rand Paul rip on Fauci about masks. I thought it was quite funny. It looked like Rand Paul came out on the top end of that conversation. I got the Moderna. I think you mean Moderna vaccine. Does it help getting in? Well, in Ecuador, if you have the certificate of the vaccination, that takes place of PCR. But like I said, according to people coming here that have been posting over the past 3-4 weeks, they're not asking anything. Now, I'm not telling you that's the way it is. I just don't know. It's like pulling teeth trying to get some good information on this. And I went to my go-to. There's nothing on the Colombian official sites that I could find. And I went to the Medellin Guru, and I don't see anything that's current. I've seen the changes that we all know about, that first didn't, then you did, then you didn't, and then you did. But where we stand now, I just don't know. If anybody has any definitive information, I would appreciate it. We would all appreciate it. Usually you can find these things, but I just don't know what's going on at the airport right now. Let me get rid of that. All right. Well, I haven't frozen a few minutes here. Any other questions? Do 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 Doom, 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 doom. Um, what else? So another thing, there wasn't anything good in the news, wasn't it? Are we still online? I think it's still online. It kicked me completely out of the program, and it says nobody's watching. Somebody help me out. You're gone. Any activity from volcanoes? Let me know if I'm back. You're back. Okay. Well, that's good that it allowed me to come back in. I don't know. This stuff drives me crazy. I'm froze. I'm not showing I'm froze. You're on now. Okay. Any activity from volcanoes? No, not really. Occasionally, you'll see steam from the one you can see from Manizales, but it's not a threat to Manizales. Uh, there's a couple that are active, but not active like they're going to blow. Good morning from Santa Marta. Yeah, yeah, I got your message. It was late, and I was in the middle of watching a movie. But I guess he goes to Santa Marta to check it out, and it it's got curfew at 8 p.m. I don't know I don't know. Every area gets to set their own. We have none. We have no curfew going on here, but we've never really had much of anything happening here anyway. As of now, what's it like going out socially? Are people normal Latin American vibe yet? Like dating, going out to a disco? There's no there's no dancing places open yet. It's mostly back to normal for my type of life, which doesn't go to discos. Things aren't completely normal, with the only exception of this mask thing that's still going on. Everything else is normal. Everything's open. A lot of places are reopening under different names, places that went out of business. There's other businesses moving in. Most everybody that was working is back to work. So, all of that's real positive. I hate this mask thing because it is a farce. I went back and revisited this topic, and it's just a joke. And I don't know when we're going to get away from that, but outside of that, they've dropped everything else. They're not spraying your feet. You don't have to get your temperature checked because they finally admitted that that was bogus. I went in with burning up with a fever back when I was sick, but I had to go to the ATM, and they just did the temperature gun and then waved me on through. By 2022, come on, we should be able to take us. Yeah, it would be nice to see people again. Non-active is dormant. Non-active as in it's not blowing its top, but they can be active. You can see smoke coming out of them, and you could fly over them and you could see red lava, but they haven't blown their top. So non-active is not the same as dormant, actually. Without vaccine, without everything, without pants. You can dance in Medellin. Awesome. That's good. And it may even be back here, but again, I'll have to ask around because I don't do that. I'm not a night person. I'm not a club person. So if they opened other things up, they got rid of the curfew. So it could very well be that those things are functioning again here in Armenia. I just don't know. See if I can find out for next week, because I know, some of you guys and ladies are interested in that. This pandemic threw a monkey wrench in my plans to visit Colombia. It's okay. Right now, you can come here and you can do pretty much whatever you're going to do. And it doesn't have to, it's you're fine coming here now. I wouldn't have said that a few months ago, but now, yes. Spraying feet. Yeah, they had this thing where you had to step in these alcohol trays, and they would, before you get on a bus, for example, they had a spray gun with alcohol, and you had to hold up one foot and then hold up the other foot while they sprayed them down. It was silly. Between Panama and Colombia, which is the best country to retire for a U.S. vet? Well, I'm a U.S. vet, and I'm retired in Colombia. So I don't know what to tell you. Some people are, it depends on what you're after. To me, Colombia is an awesome place. I mean, 20 years ago, I had this idea that I would end up back here, and here I am. And I don't regret it. I love it here. Panama, I don't know. It's. I think my biggest problem with Panama is you're really limited to a small area to live, where in Colombia you have so many choices. Even for my taste, the places like Bucaramanga and Manizales, Armenia, it's kind of like in different areas of the country. Medellin, I mean, that would be a great place, and places near it like Rio Negro, things like that. But for me, I mean, it's just too big, and so it doesn't suit me. But I also think it's one of the best cities in the world. So I don't know. I just think Colombia has so much more to offer. You can also dance in Manizales. Okay, this probably opened back up here too, because we've had less restriction here than just about everywhere. So I just didn't know. Thanks for that info. Bullfighting is a cultural thing. Shouldn't gringos and expats quit trying to go into foreign countries? It has nothing to do with expats and gringos. This is an argument within Colombia. So yeah, that's all well and good. I'm just commenting, or we're having this little conversation about what's occurring here in Colombia. I'm sure that I will have no effect on it, and I could care. I don't really care either way how it works out, to be honest with you. If they had bullfighting every weekend, I might go once just to make a video or out of curiosity, but that's not my thing either. I don't go to their football, their soccer games either. It's not me. And I don't change who I am regardless of where I'm living. I stopped wearing my mask unless instructed to do so. I feel like I'm walking around naked. Yeah, you're not the only one. I know several people, including in this chat, that just don't wear their mask, or only wear it when they absolutely have to, and that's fine. I don't know. I just wish it would all end, because it really is pointless. I was religiously wearing my mask when I got sick, so what's the point then? Manizales would be my number one home for my permaculture gardens and aquaponic system. Okay. I'd own a condo in Medellin in a drinking establishment. Okay. I have T-Mobile here in the States, and they say I can use my phone in Colombia as soon as I get off the plane. Would you know if this is true? I don't know firsthand, but I've seen that many times. I've seen people say that very thing. But I also understand that there's some issues with it, but I believe you can just get off and use your phone. If you're only going to be here for a week or two, that's fine, but it's no big deal either way. I mean, you're throwing a SIM card in your phone is not a problem. If you're going to be here for any length of time, the only thing I have to tell you is whatever company that you go with Tigo or Claro or Movistar, you need to go to one of those actual offices and have your phone registered. There's a national registry. And if you don't do it within one, possibly if you're lucky, 2 months, that phone will lock up and you can't use it. And it takes 2 or 3 days to get it unlocked. So you want to get it on a registry. What kind of medical support Colombia have for vets? Well, there's nothing there's no medical support for vets. I mean, it's Colombia. It's not the United States. There is a veterans hospital, I believe, in Panama. It really depends on what VA insurance you have. I have a particular Vietnam era insurance that lasted less than a year, but I've got it and I've got it forever, where they will actually reimburse for anything overseas. And if it's serious, they will pay to fly me back to the United States. They won't pay for the return, but they'll pay to go there. So, I've got that. But in Colombia, like most countries, you're required to carry insurance if you're a resident. Well, actually, if you're a tourist here, you are. And if you're a resident here, you are. And if you're a resident and if you're a citizen, you are. Everyone's required to have it unless you can demonstrate poverty. But if you're a resident, you demonstrate poverty, then you have to leave. So you have to get the basic insurance called EPS insurance, and that's their you can't call it a government plan because it's not. It's administered by the government to a certain extent. There's oversight, but it's private insurance. But it's a plan, and everybody carries the same thing. But it's very good insurance, and the quality of it depends more on the carrier that you choose, because you get to choose. Like here in Armenia, we got 12 or 13 of them, I guess, maybe more. And your service quality will come from what company you chose. So you're required to have it. I just got it. I have to pay $32 a month for it, but they're charging me incorrectly, and I should be paying $60. So when I go to renew my visa in 6 months, they're going to look at that and they're going to require that I back pay for the 6 months the difference of what I'm supposed to pay. Well, so I know that's going to happen. So I have to set that aside every month so I'm ready for it. And at that point, I understand that they will move it up. But right now, they won't do it. They don't know what I'm talking about. It's just not working. But I have it, so I'm complying with the law, and so I'm good to go. But it's great insurance. Yes, T-Mobile works as soon as you land. Masks don't help the wearer much. They reduce the probability that you'll give the disease to someone else. So if everyone wears a mask, it will help, but it does not drive the spread to zero. No, it doesn't. It does. In general, it doesn't make a damn bit of difference, and that's the point. You could say in a particular circumstance, maybe it does something, but in general, overall, it makes no difference. In the percent of case being contracted by citizens, percent of the population versus who's contracting, it's no different in countries that did not require a mask than countries that did require a mask. And you can even see that in the United States, places that opened up and don't have mask mandates versus states that were closed and do have mask mandates. There's very little difference, if anything. The side of they were open is right now, in most cases, a little bit better than the states that were closed or require a mask. So, that kind of throws the argument out the window. It's basically cherry picking circumstances in general, makes not a damn bit of difference. This wasn't known a year ago because we'd never come up with this, but they've got a year now to look at all kinds of information, and it just doesn't exist to support it anymore, let alone wearing 2 or 3. I mean, I just heard now they're talking about 3. I mean, okay, although Colombia's medical system is pretty good, not as equivalent to Uruguay, but good. I don't know. It kind of, great is great. I mean, what are they? They're in the top. Well, they're better than England, Canada, and the United States as far as the world ranking goes, if you can believe that. But I don't know. Here, I don't hear anybody complaining about it, with one exception. If you're in certain programs, certain companies, there can be excessive lines. So if you don't feel good and you want to go see a doctor and you got to sit there for 3 hours waiting in line, then you don't like your insurance. But if you got other insurance where you can just kind of give a call and have an appointment and get taken care of, then you like your insurance. As far as the care goes, I haven't talked to anybody that's got an issue with it, whether they're from the United States or from Colombia. I'm traveling to Panama in June, Colombia in October for research and decide between Colombia and Panama. Well, it's a good idea. We know the rhetoric already. Yeah, okay. Let's not get into I probably shouldn't even expound on that. You would need a full hazmat suit to stop the spread of the virus. You can't stop a virus. I mean, that's just reality. You're not gonna stop it. 2 or 3 because of the type you wear. I probably have to wear a dozen because of the type I wear. Viruses spread. So, it's been going on forever, and having this kind of reaction. The thing is, I don't know. I just don't want to talk. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the whole thing. So let's talk about something else. We have any other questions? Any prediction on when the U.S. will drop the CV test for reentry from Colombia fully? No, I don't actually follow what goes on in the U.S., but you can get I do know that they're accepting the rapid test. You can get the rapid test pretty much everywhere here. And by rapid, it's same day or next day. And so I don't think it's a big deal. Somebody was saying that you can actually get it, like if you're in the Medellin airport, you can actually get it right at the airport before you get on the plane. I don't know. Because a lot of people put things, like in Facebook, and they just make it up. So I don't know. But, I could see where that's a possibility. Viral microbe is 100. Okay, yeah. Come on. Panama was Colombia until the USA put their foot in. No, the USA had nothing to do with it. Panama was Colombia, as was Ecuador, as was Venezuela, hence the name of my channel, Grand Colombia. But it had nothing to do with the United States. The United States was actually supportive of the idea, but they were pretty much non-involved. The reason it fell apart, it just kind of self-imploded, where Simon Bolivar was a master at creating. He was not an administrator, and it all kind of fell apart around him. So that's why it's not part of Colombia now. So where are you driving to know that you have your license? I don't know what you're saying. Where are you driving to now that you have? Oh, so okay. So where are you driving to now that you have your license? Well, my first trip is going to be PriceSmart in Pereira. But what I'm going to do is drive it a little bit around here, kind of give it a shakedown, get my driving skills. I haven't really driven except for a couple times in the last 6 years. And so I'm going to kind of get that up to speed, although I did the driving test and it was not a problem. But I want to get comfortable, the car. I want to drive it around, make sure there's no issues with it. And then I will make some plans about what I'm going to do and where I'm going to go. Are you still talking about microbes? I recently had 12 blood tests done, and the nurse came to the house to draw the blood. Cost me $205, and then the results were emailed to me cheap and easy. 12 blood tests. I don't get that. But what you're saying is it was about $20 every time she came to the house to draw blood. That sounds about right. Here, a house call by a nurse is about $15. typically maybe 20. And by a doctor, it's typically 20, maybe 25 for a house call. All the research I've done on medical care does rate Colombia ahead of the United States, Canada, and UK. Yeah. The canal. What? Have you ever visited Barranquilla? No. If so, what are your thoughts on cost of living, quality of walking? No, I haven't. It's on my list. I want to go to Barranquilla, possibly Santa Marta. I've never been there. But Santa Marta is not high on my list because it's one of the hottest places in Colombia, and I'm not. Barranquilla, I guess I want to go there maybe so I can meet Shakira. But no, I can't speak to it. I've been to most places in Colombia, but I haven't been to those places. What do they have at Price Mart in Pereira that you cannot obtain where you are? Well, these days, not much, because a lot of the things that you would buy before in Price Mart, you can now get in Armenia because the L'Oreal Supermercado has some, I don't know, they're maybe the part of the same company. They have a lot of those things on the shelf, but they didn't 2 years ago. So I think it's a recent development. But there are some things, like I would like to get a set of sheets. Now, recently I bought a set of sheets from Bogota that are really nice, actually. So when I set up the room for when visitors come to stay for a day or two, and so those are real nice. But I don't know. I've got a membership. I want to go. I want to check it out. We shall see. We shall see. Maybe I just miss getting 300 rolls of toilet paper in one giant plastic bag. But I don't know, you bring up a point. Hopefully you will share diving footage with us so we can see the beautiful driving footage so we can see the beautiful Colombia. Sure. Yeah, I can do that. But I have already, particularly if you go back about 3 years, I actually did quite a bit of road travel footage going from Manizales to Pereira, because it's pretty spectacular, and going from Armenia to Pereira to Manizales. Got a lot of road footage back there, and go back and take a look. But yeah, I probably will do some. I would like to hire your services and pick your brain as part of my research. I like what I see in Armenia. Well, that's what I'm doing now. In Panama, I'm working with Jackie. She's very good. I don't know what that is, but sure. I do video calls, and you come to visit, show you around, hook you up with a local guide to show you different places, because I don't have time to go out and be a guide every day. But if you're coming here, I'll dedicate a day or two to you, but then hook you up with other people that can just go out and show you around. What I can have to offer is what it takes for us to come here and fit in. What are the pitfalls? What's going to save you some money? What's going to save you some time and some headaches? That's what I can do. As far as just somebody taking you to visit Salento, for example, local person will do that, and then everybody gets what they want. I haven't seen the road footage. I'll check them out. Yeah, I don't know which ones they are, but I've only got about 600 videos. So just go back and watch them all. And but if you go back about 3 years, and you'll see, I think back around the time when I had to get my new passport from Bogota, it was around that time, like a month or two window around there. I've got some over the road footage. I've also did a lot in the south part of Colombia when I was coming up from Ecuador to Cali. In there, I've got a lot of road footage there. It's pretty interesting, pretty fascinating. Bucaramanga has mild temps but high humidity, almost like an urban jungle. No, not really. It's a gorgeous place. It's the wealthiest city in Colombia. Therefore, it has a lot of amenities, a lot of nice things. It's got a huge number of skyscrapers. The temperature is a little warmer than here, but it would be bearable. I could live there, but it's not my kind of place. But it would be high. It would be high on my list. I think if I were to list my top three, it would be Armenia, Manizales, and Bucaramanga. Way down at the bottom would be Medellin, Cartagena, Bogota, and at the very bottom would be Pasto, Cali, Popayan. Those places hold zero interest for me. Vacation places would be right where I am, particularly Quindío, and runner-up on that would be San Andreas, the islands off of south of Jamaica that are Colombian. Gorgeous. Now, I told you my top three, but for many people, maybe the majority of people, it might be Manizales, Bucaramanga, Armenia, or Manizales, Armenia, Bucaramanga. Manizales is pretty spectacular in many ways. You know, you still get that kind of small town feel. It's as modern can be. You can, choose to live in the type of area that you want to live. It's pretty definitive. It's hard to, I'm not going to sit here and tell you all the reasons, but it's a pretty awesome place. It's just not for me. I'll be there next week in Manizales. Awesome. You're going to like it. You're going to enjoy it. And get in touch with me. I can put you in touch with somebody there, an English speaker, has a car and pretty reasonable. And he can, show you around or, point out some pitfalls. Pretty reliable. I've known him for a few years now. Ibagué, I think Ibagué is an option for people, but it's hot. It's really hot. It's hotter than Pereira, and Pereira is too hot for me. It's really hot. You can adjust to it, I guess. You wouldn't think it'd be as hot as it is being in the mountains, but it is. And like if it's 78 here, it'll be 90 there. And the air kind of hangs. I won't say it's real humid, but it's just a hot place. And there's maybe a higher level of poverty there, which, I mean, it's fine. It's not like you have to live in the middle of it, but I kind of like, one of the things I like about Armenia as well, there's poor here. It's like, with few exceptions, it doesn't feel that way. But in Ibagué, it kind of does. What about Manizales you don't like? Well, it's not so much that I don't like. It's more like Armenia wins. The people of Manizales are kind of cliquish. If you're not born in Manizales, you're not really part of the club. And you feel it. People are more formal towards you. It's not that they're bad to you. It's not like in Cuenca where you're treated you're treated very formally and very nice, but they could hate you. It's not like that in Manizales. It's just that they're formal and it just remains that way. It just didn't feel very comfortable to me. And it's not even that I was a gringo. If you're from Bogota, Manizales, you get the same thing. I've talked to enough Colombians that they say I'm not crazy. No, that's just how that is. So that was probably the biggest thing. I just never felt that comfortable there. And even though I'm antisocial, I like to be around nice, friendly people. In Armenia, there's no other place. Um, there's no other place in Colombia. There's very few places in the world that it's the level of what it is here in Armenia specifically. And I just really like that. I also prefer the way Armenia is kind of split up. Um, you get more of a neighborhood, small town feel, and I really love that. Whoops, it never feels like city here. In Manizales, you get that somewhat, but there's no escaping the fact that you're in a city, even though it's not huge. It's only 500,000-600,000 people. Um, it's almost double what it is here, but it's still kind of broken up. So that's basically it. I can't say I don't like Manizales. I love Manizales. I just, knowing Armenia, if I like it here better, if it feels more like home here, then of course I'm going to live here. 2,000 foot altitude really affects weather. I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, 2,000 difference between here and, so it's about 5,000 here and it's about 7,000 in Manizales. I think that's what you're saying. Yeah, there's a big difference. 5,000 feet here. I don't notice anything with altitude here. 7,000 feet, what it gives you is probably out of 5 to 6 degrees cooler on many days in Manizales. Oh, that's the other thing. Thank you. I appreciate it. HD Chillin, appreciate your work. Well, I appreciate the contributions. Definitely appreciate it. It's going to go to very good use these next few weeks. I talk about it all the time here in Armenia, where you're going to get a lot of rain, and I would not want to live in a place that didn't, because the water is drinkable, it's always green, it's got all the benefits for it. But no, I didn't say it was the most expensive. I said it's the most wealthy, it's the richest city. I'll get to that. It's not expensive at all. But in Armenia, the rain is somewhat predictable. Like if I want to go out, I get up and go out in the morning, and there's a good chance that I'm not going to get rained on until maybe in the afternoon. Rob, thank you. I appreciate it. And I like that emoji. In Manizales, it rains whenever it wants, as long as it wants. And even though I only lived there for about 3 months, it just got really frustrating to me that you couldn't plan anything. You have to take your umbrella all the time, wherever you go. It just, and there were so many days where you didn't see the sun. It just rained morning, noon, and night. And then you get your beautiful days, so you get that. It was hard to plan things. Now, particularly if you like walking, I'd go out and walk. It's kind of problematic. I mean, one time I walked from where I was living down to the mall, which is probably about a little over a mile, maybe 2 miles to the one I went to. And coming back, I got hit with a unbelievable cloudburst, came out of nowhere, and it was as hard a rain as I've ever seen in my life. All the traffic had to stop in the street, the buses, the cars, because it was raining so hard they couldn't see where they were going. So everything just ground to a halt. I had to jump up on this step. I didn't bring my umbrella because it was such a beautiful day. It just, so it was, so I'm standing there. It took probably about 40 minutes before the rain slowed down enough to where it just wasn't that bad, but it still kept raining. I ended up getting absolutely soaked, which it's okay. It's just that it seems like every time you go out, you got the risk of that. And in Armenia, I don't have that. So that was the thing. Okay, back on the Medellin is way more expensive than Bucaramanga. Absolutely, yes. Bucaramanga is similar. I would say it's not much different than Manizales. And Armenia is probably slightly cheaper than Manizales, which is probably slightly cheaper than Bucaramanga. Now, it's hard to say because some things you could find that are actually going to be cheaper in bigger cities, more competition. And some things you're going to find is going to be a little more expensive. So when I say this, I'm like overall, like maybe I can get myself a can of beer at the local tienda for 1,800 pesos, where maybe the cheapest I can get it in Bucaramanga is 2,400 pesos. But, you know, so it's hit or miss. They're all fairly close. Rents are going to be higher in Bucaramanga and Manizales than Armenia. So that's one of the big ones. All the utilities are going to be pretty similar. So they're all relatively livable on a similar budget. Let me put it that way. Okay, any other questions? Hopefully I cleared up the Bucaramanga thing. It's the wealthiest, I believe is the word I use. It's the wealthiest city in Colombia. There's more money per person in Bucaramanga than anywhere else in Colombia. And when you get there and you look around, you can definitely see it. And if you like nightlife, they're big on the parties. They're big on the nightlife and the clubs and all of that. If you like malls, they got a ton of them. The one mall is pretty spectacular, and I don't even remember the name of it now. It was in a couple videos, but it's absolutely huge. It's one of the biggest in South America, as I remember. I think it was like the third biggest, but it's got a Holiday Inn attached to it. It's got condos attached to it. It's got a football stadium attached to it. It's got a what do you call it? What do you call it? Where you have businesses, convention center. It's got a convention center that's part of it. It's this massive thing, and it's gorgeous. I just spent 5 weeks in Medellin, 5 weeks in Armenia, 5 weeks in Manizales. It's cooler in Manizales, but it rains a lot more. Yeah, that's basically true. Now, you were here in Armenia during a hot period, and since you've been there, it's been considerably cooler. We've been running mostly 75 to 78, during the day. So, it's funny because I realized that after you were gone, it's like we're actually pretty similar temperature, but it's not. Some people say it's 10 degrees difference. Well, occasionally it can be, but over the course of time, what I've seen is it works out to on average about 5-6 degrees cooler. But on any given day, it can be hotter in Manizales than it is here, and vice versa. But so it's hard to have absolutes on these things. All right, we've gone a long time. I think we're going to wrap it up. Last call for any questions. Let me get over here. That's it. That's them all. Thank you. Kachike. Kachike? I think there's an accent on there. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate the contributions. Appreciate you hanging in there with me. And we're going to call it a day. Ciao.